everyone. Good afternoon to those tuning in from Europe, and good evening to those in Asia and wherever in the world you're tuning in from. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us for today's Careers Insider webinar. My name is Camille Chow, and it's a pleasure to be hosting. I'm a graduate from IESE MBA class of 2016, and I'm an associate director based in the IESE office in Singapore, where I take care of all our MBA activities in Southeast Asia, including admissions and career services. Together with me tonight is my colleague Eve Ho, who will be managing your questions through the chat function. So before we begin, some quick rules to make sure our webinar runs smoothly today. Please mute your microphone so there's no background noise during the presentation. You can ask questions through the chat function, so you won't actually need the microphone at any time. Number 2, please disable your camera so no one gets distracted with what you're doing during the webinar. And finally, please send any questions directly to the account for Eve Ho in the chat function. Eve will manage the questions during the webinar, and we will try to have some of them answered towards the end of the session. The webinar today will run for about 30 minutes. We are very excited to have 3 students from IESE MBA class of 2020 sharing more about their summer internship experiences. So thank you to the 3 of you, Suryansh, Marika, and Felix, for taking time from your schedules to chat with us today. Now, I believe that for those of you tuning in, you may be in various stages of your MBA application. Some of you may be considering if an MBA is right for you. Some of you may have already applied, and I know some of you are joining us at IESE this September. Regardless of which stage you are in, for those of you who have aspirations of working abroad, I hope you can learn from our students' experience and get some advice from them on how to successfully get your dream internship. And now we'll get started. First up, I'm pleased to introduce you to Suryansh Shrivastava, who will talk about his internship at Rakuten in Japan.
Yeah, Camille, just making sure if you can hear us.
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. Hey guys, Suryansh here. Great to be here, first of all. I'm originally from India. Just a bit about my background. I did my civil engineering from IIT Bombay, which is an engineering college in India. I work for Flipkart. Most of you who don't know about Flipkart, it's like the Amazon, but much bigger in India. I joined them when they were almost a startup, and my last day was when they got sold to Walmart for $21 billion. My past 2 experiences has made me learn that I really enjoy speaking and working with people much more intelligent than me. And that's why I applied to IESE, and fortunately enough, I got a chance to be part of the batch of 2020. During my summer, I found myself in the middle of Tokyo working for a company called Rakuten. Rakuten is, as many of you are from Japan, you might know about Rakuten. For the rest of the people, it's a big tech membership company which is into 80 plus different businesses, from credit cards to e-commerce to sports and media and everything else. I'll dive deep into how the internship program was, but overall, the geographies I've worked in is mostly in India, a bit in Japan, in Austria, and for full time, I'll be going to Germany. Camille, next slide, please. Yeah. More about the internship a bit. I was part of the CEO internship program where 9 of us were hired from different colleges around the world. Just to give you an example, 1 girl from Harvard, 1 from MIT, 1 from Chicago Booth, 1 from Wharton, 2 from LBS. So it was a very enriching experience, kind of knowing people from different backgrounds. My personal role was basically to help them on strategic alliances. They had grown pretty quickly over the last few years, and they had some gaps in the tech systems, and they wanted to acquire companies to kind of fill in those gaps. So I was the one helping them find out the companies globally and kind of pushing for a M&A or a partnership deal for Rakuten. From an experience point of view, I was really surprised how much they were relying on my expertise on what I was taught during the MBA, and it really helped kind of deliver a good project during the summer. They were nice enough to offer a full-time job at Tokyo, and that's something that I had considered for a long while, but I had to say no to it, and I had my personal reasons for that. Having said that, I'm sure you guys must be raring to know about what are the resources that are available at IESE to not only get internships but also full-time opportunities. I think so. For me, the three most important resources were you have a career services team. So it's essentially a group of professionals who know about their own field, let's say tech, consulting, finance, etc. And they help find jobs for you and also help you train to get those jobs. So from interview prep, from mentorship on which geographies you need to apply, you have the career services team at IESE that you can bank on. Having said that, the most useful tool that you can find in IESE are the professional clubs run by students, second year students and first year students, who actually train you, bring industry specialists from outside to train you on the interview prep, on what you can expect in different careers, and stuff like that. So essentially, there's a lot of learning to talk to, and through these webinars or through these workshops that professional club organize. And the third is career forum. So twice in a year, IESE organizes a career forum for everyone here, where you'll have hundreds of companies coming to the campus and giving you presentations about what it's like to work for their company and what kind of profile are they looking for in a full-time job. So I think so. Us coming from a particular geography, it's very important and very essential to learn about what's out there, and Career Forum is one of the most important things that IESE provides to kind of gauge the kind of opportunities that are out there. One last, or a few tips from my side before we move on to Marika is, before the MBA, I think I made a plan on what I really want out of the MBA, and I think so that is something that you'll touch upon in your applications as well to IESE. That is, I think, is very, very important before you come to the MBA. So have a plan ready of what you want here, but be very, very open to seeing a new world and changing that plan as you go, because you talk to a lot of people from different backgrounds, from different geographies. So be open to change that as well. Second thing is prioritize what we like to call, there's a big FOMO here, fear of missing out. You have a ton of activities going around here. In one day, you'll have a club going to skydiving, you'll have parties at night, you'll have consulting interview prep, you'll have cases to read for school, you'll have sports. So there's a ton of activities going on around here. I think it's very essential as MBA students for us to prioritize what are the top 3 or top 4 things that you would focus on, and kind of reducing the noise from everything else. So that really helped me around kind of prepare for my internship as well as the academic side of things. I think so. Third, we always think about whether we should talk to, or whether we should be involved with more people less or less people more. So I think it's very essential that you're coming to MBA, you're meeting people from different backgrounds. It's important to network, but I would also encourage you to kind of spend a lot of time creating lasting friendships as well. So not only knowing more people less, but spending a lot of time with your team here at IESE, and a few friends that you gel with, or the industry that you're working with, the industry that you're going to work in. I think so it's very essential to create those lasting friendships that last 15, 20 years after the MBA as well. I think that's from my side. I'll be happy to take the questions later. I guess Marika is next.
Great, thanks so much, Suryansh. And yes, next up we have Morita from Japan, who will talk about her summer internship experiences in Australia and Japan as well.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Marika, I'm from Japan, and as Suryansh covered really important point mainly about MBA life and internship, I will mainly focus on internship to give you guys some more detail about what I did. So first of all, my background, as you can see on the slide, I graduated from university in Japan. And then, even though I was studying peace and development studies, which is not related to construction at all, I think most of Japanese actually go for something not actually related to what you study. So for my career, I went to Nomura, which is not the financial one. It's an interior design and construction company in Japan. And there I did project manager and sales about 4 years, and then decided to come to IESE. The reason why I chose IESE is because IESE is very focusing on social impact through business. As some of you know, that there's a responsible business club and also women in business club, which I was very interested to becoming a leader as a woman. So. And also really nice location, Barcelona, and curriculum was very interesting for me. So that's why I chose IESE. And as you can see, I did 3 internship during summer. This is pretty typical for Japanese students because we have some short period of time internship program as well. So, and many students actually say we are crazy, we are working too much. But since I really wanted to maximize my experience that I can gain from internship, I decided to go to do 3 different kind of internships. So, before I choose my internship, my objective, I had like 3 main things which was in my mind to choose my internship. So first one was function. I was mainly looking for marketing and consulting. And second one was, since my previous company was not that famous. I mean, it's not like a big brand company. So I was actually wanted to work in like a kind of big name company as an experience. And third one was location. I wanted to do my internship both in Japan and also outside of Japan. So that's how I chose these 3 companies. And how I found my internships is through career service and personal network. So for the first company, which is called Doc, it's a marketing agency in Sydney. And this one I found through my personal network before coming to IESE that I had. And the second one, Johnson & Johnson and McKinsey, I just found this through the career service that the companies actually came to IESE to conduct interviews and so on. Johnson & Johnson, I did the online interview. So briefly about the contents of what I did for internship. So at the Doc, the first company, even though it was a marketing agency, since the company really wanted to leverage my MBA experience, they gave me like a specific project, which was that Japanese clients wanted to expand their business to market in Australia. So I actually did the market research and also proposed how they can actually start their business, including the marketing plan. And second, Janssen, Johnson & Johnson, I worked as a marketing intern. In this company, they have the program called IRDP, International Rotational Development Program, for MBA students specifically. So I worked as a marketing, and then I for this one I did 8 weeks. So this is the longest internship I did. So mainly I talked with a lot of different stakeholders inside and outside of the company to come up with how they can reinforce the sales force, which is medical representatives. And the third one is McKinsey. This is a consulting company, as you guys know. And only in Tokyo, they have a program called 1 week inside program. So this is not like a real internship, but still you get to expose like how the consultant's life is. You can actually interact with partners, and also they give you some kind of chance to talk with them, and also you work with a group. So they will give us kind of like a mock project, and then we work on it really, really intensely. And so my major learnings and takeaways is that all of these three internships, I really leverage my experience in IESE, especially since I didn't have any real business skills or experience before I start studying in IESE. So actually, it helped me a lot to apply frameworks that I learned through the courses a lot. And I also learned, of course, using this kind of framework is really, really important, but still you need to really communicate heavily with stakeholders to understand about the company from scratch, especially when you go to a different industry, different position, in order to understand business problems. And also it's super important that you shouldn't try to do everything by yourself. It's always good to actively seek for support, of course, because you're completely new to that industry. And so tips for future MBAs on how to make this transition position doing internship in international environment is that first, I really recommend you to leverage your personal networks. It really depends on what kind of internships that you want to do, but still there are a lot of companies who is looking for MBA students to help the business grow or support them in short term. So I think connecting network is very, very important. And also, even though I did not get in the end MBA program internship outside of Japan, I really applied to a lot of international MBA internship programs, and that helped me to actually prepare for how to deal with interview and so on. And also internship process really differs depending on which region, which industry you're going to look at. So, but once you decide that you really want to do something outside of your mother countries, then I really recommend you to, even though it's a smaller company, even though they don't have any specific MBA program internship, it's very important that you actually talk to them actively. So this is it for me. So let's move on to Felix. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marika. Those are really great and useful tips. And of course, next up, last but certainly not least, we have Felix Baek from South Korea, who did a summer internship in Barcelona itself.
Hello guys, so welcome on board. So I'm Felix, and as you can see, I'm from South Korea. And my background, career-wise, is construction industry, and my job was two big tasks I did in my previous company was corporate finance managing and business analyzing. So those were two main functions that I took on during my prior experience. And after 7 years of my experience with my previous company, you can hear, right? Okay, sorry. So now you can hear a little bit more clearly, I guess. Okay, cool. I'll move on. Okay, so anyway, before, the reason I joined the IESE MBA was because I wanted to work outside my country. So that was my priority when it comes to the career. And second, I wanted to change the industry, even though I was in construction industry before, but I wanted to leverage my exposure to diverse industries like architecture, design, or manufacturing, so that I could embark on the different industries. So that was my major objectives before joining IESE MBA program. And what I can tell, so the most beneficial thing that I had in IESE was the team I was assigned. So if you come to IESE, so during the first year, you will be in the group of 9 people, where you can find people from different background, different ethnic or professional, or there's diversity. That's where diversity comes. And by just doing the work and by doing the team assignment together with your teammates who are from just just different background from you, you can become open-minded and you can experience what multicultural means, and you can experience and you can accept the different view from the others. So that equips you with the multicultural environment, which in the end leads you to the international environment. So that was my key learning. For example, so I had a guy who had some network in the banking industry, and I had a person who knew well about the inventory management, and I had my teammates who knew a lot about the marketing strategies. So by just mingling with them and by keeping good relationship with your teammates, you just grow up. So that was my learning, and that was the most valuable and that was most incredible experience for me that I got from IESE. So what I can say is that the most valuable asset in IESE will be, in my opinion, will be not the professors or other administrative stuffs, but it's just the people that you are gonna be work with. It's your classmates. So that's the so there you can take the best use of your people. And okay, so luckily I could do my internship here in Barcelona, in Schneider Electric. It's a France-based company which is specialized in energy management, and my job was to design the strategy to reuse the batteries that are coming from electric vehicles. Nowadays, you guys see lots of electric vehicles on the street every day, and rather than throwing out the batteries to the landfill, my job was to look for the way to utilize these retired batteries in different for the different functions, such as energy storage, etc. And my key learnings during my internship was, so there are two things. First, since you will be the MBA graduate and MBA students, so companies that hire MBA students, they expect you to do the things by your own way, and you're not going to be tasked with just normal job. For example, the job I was assigned was to open the new chapter in the energy industry. So it was upcoming thing and nothing was settled, and it was hard to collect the data that I needed to do the analytic study and to design the strategy that Schneider Electric needed. So it's about how you deal with the ambiguity. So you're not going to be in the situation where everything is clear. Rather, you are going to be surrounded by the chaos and nothing is clear. So design your own way to develop the strategy is super important. Utilizing your personal network, maybe your own information. So that's the key to excel during your internship. So please bear in mind that nothing will be just normal job, what you're gonna do for your internship. So that's first learning from my experience. And second thing is again, network. And the reason the networking is important is because, let me tell you something. So I think when we are talking about information, I think there are three types of information. First, so there are public informations where you can get by just go to the company website. So it's on public, so it's free, but it's not that valuable. And second type of information is paid information. For example, you can log into the Bloomberg by paying the subscription service, and there you can get some valuable information, but still it's not enough. And third type of information is private information, where you can get, which you can get by your own network. So by talking to the people who are working on the front line in specific industries, you can validate the numbers you acquired or you collected in other fields, and you can get access to kind of more valuable information. So that's why the networking matters. So the more information you have, then the more edge you're gonna have on the negotiation table before your investors, or when you're negotiating something with your buyers of your product. So that gives you the niche and that gives you the edge. So that's what I can tell. And for example, here I made a good friendship with a guy, my classmate, who worked in the Volkswagen, who was working in the Volkswagen. And I approached him and said, "Hey, so I need your help because I'm gonna be having negotiation with some automakers, and if you have some connection in your company, could you introduce me to someone who's in charge of electric vehicle strategy, blah blah blah." So by that way, I could get access to the high level guy in Volkswagen, which in the end led me to develop the strategy customized for the big automakers. So like this, so you can get access or you can have more information by doing the extra effort to build your own network. And I think IESE MBA is really good in that sense, because this MBA program is about diversity, and you are going to be encountered lots of people from different backgrounds. So that's the thing that I value the most about IESE MBA program. So, yep, I think this is it for my experience. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Felix. That was a very interesting experience that you had, and great reminder on the importance of building your network. Now we do have a couple of questions from the audience. So number one, and this is open to all three of you. How much impact did your past work experiences have on your ability to interview or to get your internship? If any of you are able to share your personal experience with that, that would be great.
In my case, I think previous experience in my career helped me a lot in terms of coming up with the stories that I need to tell during interview process. Because most of the interview, they ask you like, okay, tell me about a time when you faced like a challenging situation while you were in the previous job, or like telling me about a time when you demonstrate extreme leadership in the hardship situation. So that kind of question actually, of course, helped me to bring up my past experience. But in terms of like technical skill, or like while I was doing internship, I think most of the time it came from the thing that I actually learned through MBA, especially since I didn't have any technical background. Of course, for example, like communication skills, since I was a project manager, it helped me a lot to actually create a rapport with new people that I met. But in order for like, I don't know, like analyzing skill or like think logically skills that I gained from MBA.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Marika. And we have a next question for Suryansh. To work at Rakuten for the summer internship, was there any requirement for Japanese language?
So, just answering in short, no. The Rakuten internship program particularly was built in a way that they can hire top students from across different global schools. So all 9 of us, hardly anyone spoke Japanese. And specifically to Rakuten, they have English as the normal language or day-to-day language in the company itself. So there was no particular language requirement there.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for clarifying. And someone had a question. Did any of you receive questions about your GMAT score? Did this have an impact on your internship recruiting at all?
I think it's specific to industries. Some consulting firms do ask for your GMAT score, but again, it's one of the few inputs that goes into you getting the job itself. It's not at all the main decision maker. But yes, some firms do ask for your GMAT score.
So this is Felix. For me, it is different. So I've gone through interview like 6 times, I guess, when I was looking for internship, and I got never asked GMAT score. So the industry I applied was the banking or energy industry or technology company, but I got never asked my GMAT score. So it differs. It's case by case, I guess.
Yeah. But for example, my friend from my class, he decided to go to consulting for full time. In his case, since he wanted to have more bargaining power, he actually renewed his GMAT score after he came to IESE. So that kind of like case happened, especially for maybe consulting. But except that industry, I think they don't really care.
Okay, great. And this is for all three of you. I know each of you had actually mentioned the importance of networking. Can you share any tips or advice on how to network effectively for people who may not be as used to it or who may not do it on such a frequent basis?
I guess first of all, what IESE, one of the major like good points, let's say, of IESE is it makes networking super easy. The kind of or the profile of students that IESE looks for is someone who works very well in a team, and as soon as you reach here, you kind of meet people who are there to know you, who show real interest in you. So I think so networking with your own students, it's super easy. Whoever you meet is ready to help you. There's a large network of students who have worked in a particular industry that you might be interested in. So reaching out to them would be a good starting point. Having said that, yes, IESE also provides a lot of touch points apart from that with the career forum that I spoke about earlier, with a lot of industry talks. So one of my good friends recently got a job from one of the guys who was there as a guest lecturer in one of the lectures. So IESE does provide a platform for you. Having said that, the professional clubs as well as the career services team kind of organizes workshops for you to how to leverage something like LinkedIn, how to go and talk to people, how to even make a LinkedIn profile. Many of us are from a background where we are not very tuned to how to network. I think so after coming to the MBA, you'll have a lot of, even in the first month, a lot of workshops on how to leverage LinkedIn, how to leverage different like online tools to kind of network your way into different industries.
For me, I think networking, there are mainly two types of networking. So first networking is actually you go to like, for example, like networking cocktail where there are a lot of people and you know, started talking with people randomly. And the second networking is more about you actually ask your friends or like more like one-on-one conversation. So depending on what kind of personality you have, I think for me, it was easier to do the one-on-one conversation more than like party style networking event. So yeah, you can. I think you can actually choose whichever you prefer.
And Felix, anything else to add?
Yes. So basically, I think the mindset of networking should be, so you need to be bold and proactive. So you need to kind of work in advance. So you need to take one step further to make a good network and make a good relationship with the people you first encounter. And for me, I usually reach out to the alumnus of IESE. So, for example, when you're interviewing company A, then you type in company A in the LinkedIn, then you'll find lots of alumnus working in the same company. So that's how I usually network with the people who I need. So the first thing you have to do is you have to be, bold in a way. So I'm from South Korea, and it's not kind of common for Koreans, maybe for other Asian citizens, to reach out kind of proactively. But here things work differently. So you are surrounded by lots of alumnus who are working in the companies you dreamed of. So it's just be kept with proactive mindset is super important, the way I see it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for those tips. I think we have one last question, and this is open to all three, but maybe one of you can answer it. That would be fantastic. So from the day you got admitted to IESE to the day you left for school, do you have any tips or suggestions for admitted students on how to best prepare for your MBA? Anything you wish you had done?
I think for me, it's once you know that you're coming to IESE, it's good to reach out to students from your geography who are already there in IESE. I think so that's a very good touch point for advice for how things work in Barcelona, how things work in IESE, and it kind of helps with the trust as well. So I would definitely try and reach out to the students who have already have been to IESE or are currently studying at IESE. I think so that would be the my second advice would be just try to brush up a bit on Spanish. Even though it's not a requirement, it does help a bit to kind of have a nice experience of dining out in Barcelona and ordering taxi to go take you somewhere. Apart from that, I think so you should chill out. Like 2 years is a roller coaster ride. So just spend more time with your family. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Suryansh, Marika, and Felix, for giving us so many useful insights. What I think is most inspiring is that all three of you, obviously come from very different backgrounds and have very different aspirations, but you managed to try something new for your internship, and it's very encouraging to hear about all the different types of opportunities available for IESE MBAs. So thank you again for your time. I wish three of you all the best for your final term. Enjoy your time in Barcelona. And of course, to all the listeners, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on social media, where you can get more updates on student life and events happening all over the world. So thanks again, and have a good evening or good afternoon, everyone.